What the green axis clearly understand in America is that the shortcut to deviousness is knowing the issues. That's why military sociologists called upon the University of Washington first and foremost, because they had their thinking caps on when it came to minority studies and had long known how to pit rivals against one another to cause fights. There is telltale evidence. I found this written in cement. Free Nelson Mandela, which means this was back when apartheid still existed, and Noah. See, one of the things I've long known is that the AIDS attack was uploaded with the consolation prize of reforming apartheid. There was during those days a apartheid era poison plot revealed. South African Secret Service had considered poisoning Nelson Mandela in the brain to compromise his effectiveness and embarrass the ANC, and they decided on a slightly different strategy, sort of Elizabeth Taylor. You may not know, but Unit 731 was rescued in return for their biological warfare weapons by John Foster Dulles from the Tokyo War Crimes. You see, the new idea was to recruit black men to put on their thinking caps for the new Axis. They realized that what the issues were. They were very devious. They understood that a woman on trial for her life because of her nakedness would arouse the pity of those who were sensitive towards human rights and didn't like the invasions of the state. And the film about Unit 731 depicts gays carrying crosses. So they really did understand the issues, but deviousness also comes from understanding the techniques. Like this was in the Oswald Diary edition of Life, claiming Longfellow wrote Mark Twain's books. And there was another ad that looked a great deal like Lyndon Johnson, many, many Lyndon Johnsons. How strange to find that a direct look-alike of the girl who introduced me to Gail Burston, who lived across the street from King's Estate where I was taken and gassed, should appear on the cover of Roman Paint. And this sort of technique permeates investigations online and in semiotics of media, and trying to pick up the pattern from Elizabeth's Shakespearean theater company of the real, her Emile Zola double fantasy. When you look at the recently released Oswald secret messages kept from the public by the FBI, you find places like Riddlestrauss have no record of riddle, tipstaffs, tips and riddles. How interesting that they have no record of the tips and riddles that could possibly give some uniform theme to the way that the people who did this thought it all out. And that's where we come to Pittsburgh, where they played two virgins pussy ball with the help of UW, Dialectical UW, who arranged for the exclusive dibs of the signifier of Muhammad Ali's tribute to the best of the best, Midori Goto, the Asian extreme symbol of sexual conquest that the black man got under Biden vice presidency, while the C, the white, was sent to the gas chamber of Neva Corporation, Neva Mancine, she's called in the script. And you see the green bottle of the world and the left hand of how the West was won. So, how did they get away with it exactly? Well, they built sympathy for the Neva Corporation seductresses. One passage from the script says, maybe it hasn't occurred to Hazlitt that women also laugh and weep. And isn't how that's interesting, how the eye is like a little bit swastikalized. But the women laugh and weep. So even though the victim who was tortured and held before the queers, mania for sadism, was a little boy, it's really the little girl who was behind it who should have your sympathies, no matter what incriminating things she might say. She should have your sympathies. Diamond Gallus, who stands up to be counted. She stands up and says ugly things about the AIDS attack, was in on 911 and the AIDS attack. And her namesake called me to brag on December 8th, 1980, because the owners of the plan had gotten away. They had gotten a death certificate, and the death certificate guaranteed that the little girl would be the victim, even though she was the perpetrator. They tell me I am wrong. They say Columbus was a fag. Fag, she said. No. Dialectical UW will harness that. She did not say fag. She said that. But it recoils on the person who read it. You dared read what she said. So you are the one insulting the master. UW dialecticalists. Michelangelo was dumb. Socrates became possessed. And blondes always have fun. You know why? Don't say like Anne Frank. It's still, no matter what. Don't say like Anne Frank because it was a blonde. So don't say like Anne Frank when they hide in the closet. Know what you could get for that blood-stained dress, he says to the woman. He's out for some money in the killing, and he'll get some money, they say, because the sympathy has turned on the white. See, Adolf? The white. Let's talk about how they went about it. They came to the Carnegie Mellon University, and they played both that they were looking and that they weren't. They were slick. And they were working with John Schulman, stealing some books. See how slick they were? Oh my, they were slick. And they said, but whose story is it? Whose story is it? We stole the book. We stole the book, they announced. And then they said, this is a matter of free speech. This is the matrix of ideas, Charlie. What if I told you that stealing a book was our divine right of kings? And they say Roger Cousin in the book to Adolf, my son, yes, to the little boy White who was arrested in Texas Theater for saying the wrong name at the wrong time about something they shouldn't, So That is the story of the bird. And how do I know that the story of the bird was all planned? Well, when Two Virgin Pussy Bowl was coming around, they had some things that Pitt they knew was going to do. They knew how it was going to go. And one of the things that was really sly was they had a dude who was framing himself. Now, I say in English is known because of how brutal they are, right? They like to show off about how brutal they are. And they come and they say, who's gonna carry the cross, Pussy Bowl? And they put in the ass rapist. See, then they poison queerbait in the mouth. So they know what they're doing because they say, and they have it all set up to look for the clues. What's up, Tiger Lily? They have it all set up to look for the clues. See, there's a pattern there. Yes, indeed, there's a pattern. The pattern is about broken science. Nabucco's stupid code about what boys should do and girls should do. Now we see how it works. See? And they say that that's not real, that nothing is real. The only thing that's real is that death certificate they come up with. They come up with a death certificate, switching names around, pretending they are people they aren't. And they set up Two Virgins Pussy Bowl to get the Midwest the Maytais. And they laugh. You can't see that. You can't see that. You can't see that. No, you can't see that. So they say, here's Reagan. He says, I was out there in front for a while, then bang. What do you mean bang? Then bang, he was flat on his can. Now you're going to remember this day for an awfully long time. What day are we going to remember for an awfully long time? November 22nd, 1963 is long forgotten. Surely you don't mean that. And they have a lookalike of Gail Burston with the story of the bird, you know. And what happens is they put her into, don't say, well, you can say she's like Anne Frank because she's the one who did it. She's the Hitler, not. But you can't, no, don't say because she's the one who did it. She's like Anne Frank because she's a girl who was hired by the Neva Corporation. That's why they own the story. The girl is the good guy. The girl is the good guy, and who is the bad guy? The scared little white. Why? Because they say he is. You know, he's the opposite of the little girl, you see. He's the opposite of the little girl. And when you see that evidence suggests that Dag Hammarskjöld's plane was shot down, you think of the little boy who crashed into the sea, whose airplanes took a plunge. Oh, that must have been because of my pappy in the radio room. George Bush's airplane took a plunge. And that's going to be worth money to the girl who was hired by the Neva Corporation and VNR Planning. See how it works? You don't see how that works. No, you don't see. Because Muhammad Ali says whoosh. And when Muhammad Ali says whoosh, you know it's in the black man's interest to go along with the arc of colors, just like the black man went along with the Vietnam War. It had Lyndon Johnson saying, Royal Motion for Bacon, who this little porker wriggling and squealing in the king's arms. Yes, indeed. Little porker wriggling and squealing in the king's arms. So you know that someone's going to out-harness that victim status. And D.W. Griffith had been planning for a long time with Hitler Reagan. No, don't say Hitler Reagan. Say the wonderful little girl from the Neva Corporation who rescued us from the death white suck.